In 2022, the wrestling world shifted forever, with Vince McMahon forced to step back amid scandals. Triple H, the cerebral assassin himself, was appointed head of creative within WWE. And for the first time in decades, a wrestler, not a corporate suit, will control the destiny of the company. And under Triple H's leadership, WWE quickly regained its credibility. As long-term storytelling returned, characters were rebuilt. Stars like Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Gunther flourished under his reign. And as for those fans, especially those that were burnt out by the years of the repetitive McMahon era booking, felt like there was a spark of hope. Wrestling had become cool again. But in early 2024, a second massive shift happened. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was appointed to the board of directors of TKO Holding, WWE's new parent company after a merger with the UFC. And on paper, it seemed like a dream. The biggest crossover superstar in wrestling history would help lead WWE into a new era. But beneath the surface, a cold war was brewing. Two alpha personalities, Triple H and The Rock, began pulling WWE in different directions, with one fighting for storytelling and wrestling purity, while the other was chasing spectacles and a personal branding. And we got to see this all on screen as the first major battle came at WrestleMania 40. It was supposed to be Cody Rhodes' coronation, the American nightmare, finishing the story that had captivated audience for 2 years. Yet behind the scenes, The Rock pushed to insert himself into the main event spotlight, challenging Roman Reigns. And just weeks before WrestleMania, WWE announced The Rock versus Roman Reigns, sidelining Cody completely. And everyone at the time can see it. It was a blatant power play. The Rock was leveraging his board influence to seize WWE's biggest stage for himself. But this is the age of the internet, and Twitter and online forums exploded. The response was something else that had never been seen in WWE before, forcing them to pivot.
It is not your right to determine the main event. It is mine. I won the Royal Rumble.
The fans revolted instantly. The hashtag #WeWantCody trended worldwide for days. In addition to that, viral protests had erupted at live events. Even the mainstream media picked up on the outrage. The public pressure became too loud to ignore simply. In an unprecedented pivot, WWE, likely pushed by Triple H and Nick Khan, reversed course, as Cody Rhodes was reinstated into the main event of WrestleMania 40 Night 2, while The Rock, he shifted to a bloodline tag team match with Reigns on Night 1. And as for the event itself, it's a tale of two nights. Night 1 was headlined by The Rock and Roman Reigns defeating Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. It felt flat to many fans, as it was the star power without the substance. But Night 2, that was magic. Cody versus Reigns under Bloodline rules became a true Avengers Endgame moment, with Cena, Taker, Seth, Jay, Solo, and The Rock's interference backfiring. Cody finished his story, dethroning Roman Reigns in front of a molten Philadelphia crowd. It was one of the most satisfying WWE main events in history, exactly the type of long-term storytelling Triple H had championed. And it was clear, after the emotional high of WrestleMania 40, it seemed WWE has clearly chosen storytelling over spectacle. But The Rock wasn't finished. In a cryptic promo the night after WrestleMania, he confronted Cody backstage and ominously said, "This isn't over, the final boss always gets the last move." With those words, he planted a seed for a future rematch, refusing to pass the torch.
But when The Rock comes back, Cody, whether you're champion or you're not champion, The Rock is gonna come back for you.
Then came the Bad Blood pay-per-view. Fans expected The Rock to finally follow up his tease to Cody. Instead, his appearance was empty, just another promo hyping himself with no clear storyline progression, as there was no attack, no match announcement, nothing meaningful. It felt like he was coasting on his name value alone, wasting valuable screen time Triple H could be using to build an actual angle. But even The Rock's character evolution felt disconnected, because he was a heel on TV. But when WWE officially debuted on Netflix in 2025, a massive moment for the company, The Rock returned, but notably, he shifted away from the darker final boss character he teased before. He was all smiles, he was pandering, he delivered a babyface promo instead of acting like a ruthless villain he had been building up. It was a clear sign of the creative tug of war backstage, The Rock protecting his public Hollywood image versus Triple H wanting layered storytelling. As this creative tension exposed the philosophical battle raging inside WWE, as Triple H wants professional wrestling driven by arcs, payoff, and emotional investments, whereas The Rock wanted WWE to be an extension of his brand. Big moments, big money, but little substance. This isn't just two personalities clashing, it was two visions of what WWE should be. But to be clear, WrestleMania proved that Triple H's vision worked. The crowd reaction, the critically acclaimed, the business numbers, all backed up by him. But The Rock is one of the most powerful and connected figures in all of entertainment. His position on the TKO board gives him corporate leverage that no previous wrestler has ever had. It's hard to see why Triple H feels like he's playing chess while The Rock is playing politics. And this could be further argued in the weeks leading up to Elimination Chamber 2025 in Toronto, as The Rock began planting the seed for his Final Boss Soul storyline, precisely farming it in a way to test the water of the fans' investment. On the Pat McAfee show, The Rock revealed that the entire angle, offering Cody Rhodes a shot at fulfilling his ambition in exchange for his soul, was a device to gauge the crowd's reaction and refine the narrative before the bigger WrestleMania payoff.
I want your soul.
And he further admitted that this sudden involvement at Chamber was on behalf of the TKO CEO Ariel Emanuel, and it was to boost ticket sales amidst slow numbers rather than a meticulously planned creative beat for WrestleMania. And considering WWE's ticket prices, it does make sense.
I get a call from Ari Emanuel, who we know. He said, we need help at Elimination Chamber. Ticket sales are a little slow.
And as for the test approach, it led to a flurry of on-screen and off-screen teasers. The Rock would surface in promos promising he still has the last move, while WWE creative quietly monitored the matrix to see if the fans bought into the high-stakes metaphor of their very souls being up for grabs. And by the time Elimination Chamber arrived, the storyline groundwork was laid. John Cena was slated to win the men's chamber, and he would be offered the deal by The Rock, only to reject it in solidarity with Cody, until Cena's shocking heel turn later underscored the blurred lines between heroism and corruption, which led to the most iconic WWE moment in recent history.
There is your main event for WrestleMania, John Cena.
Though what surfaced afterwards was kind of confusing towards the fans, as the in-ring side pundits mentioned Cena's stare down with Cody and Travis Scott pop culture shock value, yet references to The Rock were limited to a single sentence remark during the press conference. In addition to that, ESPN's video recap featured over 2 minutes of Cena's heel transition and fans' reaction, with The Rock's name spoken just once when describing the alliance. And even WWE's own official website article on the event underscores Cena's complete character transformation as a betrayal of a brother, while relegating The Rock to a footnote about joining forces, which is odd considering he's the one that guided the whole thing. But this fallout carried straight into WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, and despite rumors that The Rock might return, the main event saw John Cena win via surprise interference from Travis Scott, claiming a record-winning 17th world title over Cody Rhodes. It was an ending that was widely panned by the fans as a stunt casting that lacked any narrative build-up and left the advertised Soul storyline in tatters. Even worse, WWE sold Rock branded merchandise at Allegiant Stadium, baiting fans with his image only to leave the ring empty when it mattered most, prompting accusation of a bait and switch in terms of marketing. But at this point the damage was done. The fans were in an uproar, Twitter was heated, forums were going crazy, and the fans weren't happy overall, which led WWE to do something they've never done before. In an unprecedented move, 2 days later The Rock broke kayfabe on the Pat McAfee show, explaining that the final boss chose not to join the main event to let John have his moment. He then delivered a withering critique and said that he would have finessed things a little differently, a remark that publicly questioned the booking acclaim of the WWE's chief content creator officer, otherwise known as Triple H.
I would have finessed things a little differently on how they got there, but that's just me creatively. But still, ultimately, the bottom line was I love John getting 17.
Additionally, during the interview, The Rock revealed that he decided to step away from WrestleMania 41's main event because he felt like the final boss persona had fulfilled its narrative purpose, and declared that, I think the final boss's work was done, we've established it, implying that the character was no longer needed in terms of the storyline, which from a fan's perspective would make sense if this was explained in a promo or even an interview behind the scenes, but none of that was explained at all. I believe the No Sam podcast summed it up best when it comes to this issue.
That the final boss's work is not done. Because clearly the audience did not get the message that the final boss's work was done. Whether or not John Cena sold his soul, why he sold his soul, what it means. Somebody's got to explain it.
The Rock doubled down on Busted Open Radio, declaring that the business is a complete work, always has been and always will be, conflicting his real-life grievances with WWE's scripted work and leaving insiders unsure whether to treat his comment as a genuine or an extension of the story, with even SE Scoops reporting backstage confusion, with talent asking whether the McAfee interview was a shoot or simply part of a larger on-air narrative, underscoring the blurred lines between Johnson's authentic frustration and WWE's crafted illusions. As for Triple H's position in all of this drama, his reply was minimal but pointed. On the WrestleMania 41 kickoff special, he told Peter Rosenberg that the critics should be a fan or fuck off. Fans and the media immediately read as a veiled rebuke to The Rock's commentary. And later on the Pat McAfee show, Triple H clarified that he does not put stock in internet critics, arguing over-analysis ruins the magic and that the WWE's product should speak for itself, an implicit dismissal of The Rock's public critiques. And you could go even deeper, considering Triple H was inducted into the Hall of Fame, gave a 1 hour long speech, but never failed to mention The Rock, which just further fuels fans' theory that something deeper must be going on. Beyond that, behind the scenes, respected outlets painted a picture of a creative tug of war, with even Fightful Select revealing that creative meetings were hampered by last-minute disputes between The Rock's camp, who demanded an emphatic WrestleMania spot, and Triple H's team, who prioritized Rhodes' long-term elevation, resulting in unplanned moments and misaligned expectations, with even Eric Bischoff on his 83-week podcast saying that camps have formed around sporadic Rock's appearances versus Levesque's creative control, and that a backstage power struggle is forming and it could be felt in the room every time The Rock's name comes up.
Bad planning, bad execution, everybody's covering their ass.
So despite the media outlets and the online forums saying that there should be a rift between the two, the backstage reaction has been mixed, with SE Scoops reporting multiple talents saying that they haven't heard no real tension between Johnson and Levesque, describing their rivalry as purely kayfabe and noting that the locker room morale stays strong despite the media chatter. Conversely, Frightful Select sources revealed creative meetings where Johnson and Levesque clashed over the WrestleMania finish, with one writer admitting that they couldn't get both sides on the same page about The Rock's late involvement. But the real casualty, according to the Wrestling Observer, has been the fans' trust and the storyline's consistency. After WrestleMania 41, Rhodes' momentum stalled as he hasn't been seen on screen, as Cena's heel turn absorbed all the focus, illustrating Observer's point that WWE's top-down politics directly impacts its on-screen product and alienates fans as creative coherence is sacrificed for backstage power plays. Yet, in the eye of the storm, WWE's corporate trajectory under Levesque remains robust. The Triple H acquisition and the upcoming Worlds Collide event promises a fresh global matchup. Meanwhile, The Rock's board role looms as both asset and complications. His mainstream buzz drives attention, but his sporadic involvement and public critiques risk undermining long-term storytelling unless clear creative boundaries are established. As SummerSlam 2025 approaches, with The Rock slated for promotional appearances and Triple H overseeing the AAA crossover, the next on-screen convergence will be the ultimate matchup, WWE's creative equilibrium, because we hope that The Rock will reclaim the soul of WWE in a blockbuster main event, or will Triple H methodically assemble driven vision prevail through an evolving roster of new main eventers? As we are a generation conditioned on bingeable narratives and character depth, WWE's future depends on reconciling these two blockbuster philosophies into a unified, compelling saga. But one thing is certain, this isn't a scripted feud, this is real. This is the two former kings of the Attitude Era, Triple H and The Rock, are fighting behind the scenes for WWE's future. This is wrestling purity versus Hollywood spectacle, grit versus gloss, heart versus ego. The fight for the soul of WWE isn't happening in the ring, it's also happening in every booking decision, every promo, every executive meeting, and it's the history that tells us anything. When two legends collide, the fallout reshapes the world forever. With WrestleMania 40 was round 1, WrestleMania 41 was round 2, the real war is just beginning.